Hello, fellows. This is Junior Scientist, and as per our series, this is the fourth lecture of the entire series. And in today's lecture, we are going to start a new topic which is called as greenhouse effect and global warming. Remember that something there is a layer which is called as atmosphere, is a layer of gases which is surrounding our Earth. It's just like an apple and having a layer or a layer outside of it surrounding it. So basically it is protecting that apple from being damaged off from the environmental heat. So in simple reference we would say atmosphere is a layer of gases who is surrounding earth in order to prevent it from damaging the damages caused by the ultraviolet rays directly coming from the sun to heat up to the earth. So basically, it is a protective layer who is surrounding Earth in order to provide protection it against the heat coming from the sun. That is why we could say that it is an atmospheric layer and it is the Earth protection protective layer. Now, why I have just mentioned that layer is like because that layer somehow is responsible for keeping the heat inside the earth. I mean, it is not letting those heat rays which are coming from the sun directly and they are hitting up onto the earth, dropping up the heat energies or the photons to the earth, and they should revert back. But due to the presence of that atmospheric layer, that layer is not going to go, or those rays basically are not going to go outside the earth. That is why the earth's temperature is getting elevated with every coming decade. Even it is now getting heated with every coming 2 or 3 years. So we would say that basically global warming is what you could say that is basically the phenomena which is responsible for keeping the heat rays within the earth, and they are not letting that heat rays to go outside the earth. Now there are many gases who are responsible. Remember that there is a gas which is called as carbon dioxide. In atmosphere, the carbon dioxide is present in concentration of about 0.04%. If it elevates about from that range, which is 0.04%, it means it is going to elevate Earth's temperature, which is obviously not good thing. It would cause melting of glaciers. It would be causing elevation in the sea levels. So these are the two basic effects and many other factors. Next factor is that uh, if that range fall below 0.04, in that case the earth's temperature would also show a great decline, and due to that rain we would got unable to survive. It means it would show a great decrease in the earth's temperature. So that was the whole summary of this thing. Now what they're expecting is like there are two gases which are carbon dioxide and methane, which are not in the list of pollutants given so far, but if you make a link, they have their role to cause pollution. Now basically they make a, I mean together with the water vapors and oxides of nitrogen, they are causing global warming due to the greenhouse effect. Basically they are the 2 3 points given right there. What they are expecting or what they are saying is that there is a thing which is called as um, like these gases if you just consider oxides of nitrogen. So whenever you refer to the term oxides, they are mainly the reactive thing. So simply oxides are going to go react with the gases who are available in the atmosphere. So you could say that oxide of sulfates, oxide of nitrogen, oxide of chlorine are present in the atmosphere. When they got to combine with water molecule which is H2O, they are expecting to cause something which is called as acidic rain. Now that acidic rain is that is basically the water that is falling onto the earth with the range uh, with the pH ranging from 3 to 5 or maybe below the 1. It is basically highly dangerous stuff. Now global warming is caused due to the greenhouse effect. Remember that global warming is something which is going to cause elevation in Earth's temperature. Next is greenhouse effect. It is what when something or a green shield covers, or basically this phenomena is used to promote heat energy. Now there is the green, mostly it is a green sheet who is placed right above the plants. Now what they are doing is they are going to promote heat to enter to that particular area or that particular green sheet, but they are not letting those rain to leave the particular area. And what they are using is, people use this energy for the sake of providing plants with excessive heat so that they could elevate their growth. So that was it for this purpose. Now next is the case, Earth is warmed by the sun, but it would quickly escape if it is not for our atmosphere. Earlier, I mentioned like atmosphere is a layer who is protecting Earth from getting excessively heat. Now, obviously, when the sun rays or when the ultraviolet rays enters the Earth, they are not reverting back with the same concentration or with the same quantity. What is the reason? The reason being is that the atmosphere would trap those rays or those heat within it, and it is not allowing that heat to leave the earth. Next point is that it is obviously effect like during the night times, usually no clouds are there. Basically you could say that atmosphere, as much the gases who are present in the atmosphere are comparatively getting lower in their concentration somehow, because it show a great decline in human activities at that particular area. So basically we are not throwing up heat from the earth. So that is the reason, like lack of human activities or lack of sending chemicals to the atmospheric layer, it promotes reduction in the earth temperature, because greenhouse phenomena is getting lower during the night times. Next is the point, some gases are better in keeping heat in them than the others. There is too much for these gases in the atmosphere to get like they contribute well to promote warmer conditions to the earth than the others. So basically we could say that some gases are comparatively considered as more responsible for causing greenhouse effect, or they're more responsible for elevating earth temperature, and other gases are obviously comparatively lesser responsible, because that is all dependent upon the bonding and how they could entrap the heat rays within them, which vary from gas to gas or chemical to chemical. Now if we refer to this particular point, this is the earth, and earth is surrounded by a layer of gases. Right there, this is the atmosphere, and that atmosphere is obviously made up of the multiple layers. These are surrounding earth. Now this atmosphere is responsible for causing or for keeping different chemicals within it. And also the weaker the layer is, the more we would get exposed to the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun, and the healthier or the thicker it is, the more, or you can say that we would get less exposed to the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. As per human activities, if we burn the fuel, let us consider this particular point. If we burn the trees, we would lack oxygen. Right now, the population is getting bigger, resources are getting lower. People are even, in order to use the trees for the sake of the fueling purpose, we have dependent more upon the trees or burning trees. That is why we could say that people tends to burn more and more trees. So you could say that. Trees are getting lower. Obviously trees were responsible for like absorbing pollutant, which is carbon dioxide, and they just convert that bad thing into the oxygen, which is obviously good for our survival. So that is the basic level of thing. Now what we say that previously, if there were more trees and lesser population, it means excessive amount of oxygen was available. Now the trees were responsible for absorbing excessive carbon dioxide from the this earth surface. But as per, we could say that um, when the trees are getting, people tends to cut off the trees are getting lesser in their numbers, the trees are getting lesser in the numbers, and now more carbon dioxide is allowed to get entered into the atmosphere. The next point is like whenever different fuels are left into the atmosphere due to different human activities, we uh, due to that particular phenomena, they are contributing in the production of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, which is obviously not the demand of human life resources. Next point is like sun rays and some energy is coming from the sun. Like this way you can focus like energy is coming from the sun, and it enters into the earth. It means it is throwing up huge amount of ultraviolet rays onto the earth's surface. But much of this ultraviolet rays would survive, would live into the earth, while remaining a fewer concentration of them would be allowed to enter into the to be diverted from the earth's surface. So you could say that they are going to throw the heat energy onto the earth, and that was all about the greenhouse effect. The next point is about its like what are the impacts or factors of greenhouse effects are. So basically you could say that greenhouse effect is a phenomenon which is responsible for causing pollution, or which is responsible for elevating earth's temperature, and it is mainly, it is mostly due to the human activities, uh, because we have thrown up chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere. We have elevated the carbon dioxide concentration into the atmosphere. But simply if we just reduce our activities, we can overcome this problem, because if we continue to do the same thing, the Earth's temperature would getting higher with every coming day. Next factor is, now what are the problems caused by this artificially elevated temperature caused by the human activities? The first point is, because of the elevation of the Earth's temperature, the glaciers and polar ice will melt. Obviously, elevated temperature would make them to melt off. This will cause rise in the sea level, and obviously, frequent flooding would be observed whenever flood came to a particular area. Although land would get fertile, but the human needs, human houses, or human lives are at highly danger. So simply, we face loss of the human lives. We face loss of the human economy, and I mean, flooding is obviously a bad thing. Next is the surface area. The surface temperature of Earth will increase. Why? Because we are allowing the carbon dioxide to, I mean, like more of the gases to enter into the Earth, but we are not allowing them to leave the Earth with the same concentration. So most of the rays would survive onto the Earth. They are going to cause elevation in the Earth's surface temperature. Next one is like sway weather events will increase in frequency, and simply hurricanes, flooding will be become more common. So simply tornadoes or different things who are related to the human activities. Basically, a difference in pressure is developed, which is responsible for causing the tornadoes or the thing. So simply they are totally saying like human activities promote elevation in temperature. This artificial elevation in temperature will be causing the greenhouse effect, and obviously that greenhouse effect will be further responsible for causing damage to the human resources. Next is, in some areas they develop some sort of inequality in the lands, because in some area they would be promoting elevation and growth. They would increase the land fertility, while in the other areas they would be decreasing the land fertility. They would turn it into an infertile land. So obviously that land, those people who are living in that area, they would feel difficult to grow their crops. They have to use more chemicals, and that is an also another economy inspiring or economy reducing activity. Next point is carbon dioxide and methane are the two main problems, are the two main problematic gases, because they are high. It is difficult to break them. Next one is like methane is 20 times more effective at stopping the heat escape than that of the carbon is. Basically, it has tendency to capture the gas within it. It means you could say that it would stop heat to 20 times more than that of the carbon dioxide. It simply means methane would encapture the heat, although somehow carbon dioxide would allow gas to leave the particular area. So basically, there are the two layers, one is of methane and the other is of carbon dioxide. Methane wouldn't capture it, while carbon dioxide would somehow allow the gas to leave the atmosphere. Now, the next point is for the carbon dioxide enters the air through the respiration and burning. Okay, so we just respire, and we just living creature who respire. We just threw up carbon dioxide into atmosphere. Now it is removed by the plants, because plant would allow carbon dioxide to get elevated from the Like plants would simply absorb the carbon dioxide, they will convert it into oxygen. Next is methane. Methane is produced by animals such as cows whenever they breathe in, whenever they are trying to get rid of the gases which burning in their stomach. So simply they produce methane out from their body. Now, basically, different organisms produce methane gas. You could say that paddy rice fields phenomena when water is standing within a particular area in which we have just drawn the rice fields, that they allow the water tends to, I mean, like continuous standing of water within the growing rice field would be promoting growth of the, or it would enhance the production of methane gas. So whenever methane gas is produced in excessive concentration, it is going to cause bad effect onto the atmosphere. So in simple way, that was it for today's lecture. Today we just learned about the greenhouse effect, which was a phenomena when the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun would enter into the earth, but they are not allowed to get reverted from the earth. So that was it. We are going to encapture that heat into the atmosphere. Next factor, the point number two we just learned is the carbon dioxide range within the atmosphere is about 0.04%. If it elevates that range, it would elevate Earth's temperature. If it decreases to 0.04%, it is going to show a decline in Earth's temperature. And if it show even just decline from that particular range, it would make it difficult for our survival onto the Earth. Next is we just learned about some problems as we learned, like melting of glaciers, enhancement of floods, like variation in fertility of the land, different phenomena, different human activities get affected from that particular ranges. And next is we just learned about the two gases, the carbon dioxide and methane gas. Carbon dioxide is comparatively less active to in capture the gas within it, or it is less active to capture heat into it, while methane gas is it has 20 times more capacity to hold heat within it. So that is how we could say that they are going to cause bad effects onto the earth's surface, and they are responsible for elevating the earth's temperature, because whenever that temperature elevates, it would be making harder for us to survive onto the earth. So that's it for today. If you have any confusion, you can you can ask us at the email address. Moreover, for further tutorials, you can give us suggestions. So like, share, and subscribe the channel. Thank you. Good luck.